In Tantra, everything is seen as a vehicle for liberation, bliss, and freedom, especially the human body. Tantra is the weaving of our inner Shiva with our inner Shakti. And when we look at human sexuality through this lens, we understand that Tantric sexuality is about the union of Shiva and Shakti in physical form. Remember that in this universe, the microcosm is a reflection of the macrocosm and vice versa. So whenever we are on the tantric path as women, it is very important to understand how to increase your magnetic power to attract the correct tantric partner. It all begins with the preparation, both of our emotional body and our physical body. Sometimes in many things in life, the preparation is actually even more important so than the actual act. And this is no different in Tantra. So in today's episode, I'm going to share a very powerful way that you can begin working both on your inner world and on your physical body to magnetize and attract your appropriate tantric partner. My name is Silvana. I'm a course creator and the founder of the Venusian Academy, space for the exploration of the divine feminine arts and Shakta Tantra. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe to get more content like this. All right, so let's start with what do I mean by the correct tantric partner? So this idea of like the appropriate, the correct, or the incorrect and inappropriate partners, it doesn't really exist in life. Like we always end up with the people that we're meant to for whatever reason. Like everything is perfect. If it wasn't meant to be, they wouldn't be in your life. So from this perspective of like surrendering to life, we're always with the perfect person at the perfect time. However, if you are serious about practicing Tantra and you want to experience the depth of Tantric union, the appropriate Tantric consort is a man that has mastered his sexual energy. Sexual mastery for the masculine partner involves control over the animalistic impulses, both physically and astrally. So what does this look like in practical terms? Like on the physical, there's one, side of the equation, and then on the astral, it's a little bit more complicated. So physically, a man that has mastered his sexual energy basically means whenever Maya, the great illusion that manifests as everything we observe and as other women and other men and all of the beautiful physical manifestations of life, pulls on this man, does he discharge sexual energy? Does he collapse and loses his life force? Or does he have mastery over deciding where his sexual energy and attention goes to? Or does he hold all his sexual energy, but it turns into anger and hatred and rage and a lot of like closeness, because this is also not healthy. And also we have to understand that sometimes it's actually more important to observe the astral body of a person more so than the physical, because physically we can exercise willpower and self-control over ourselves. But for Tantra, the reason why the masculine practices for white Tantra, for example, which is the celibacy Tantra of basically not discharging your sexual energy, but instead pulling it up through your body and spreading it through either the microcosmic orbit, through Kriya Yoga, through different breathing practices, what that's doing is that it's strengthening his astral body as well. A man can have a lot of control and like say no to a woman, but then he will have dreams wherever he does lose and discharge sexual energy. So there is a disconnection between the physical and the astral. Also, we have to understand the role of Maya in this whole conversation. So if there is sexual control, for example, but it turns into anger or hatred or resentment with the feminine or the feminine polarity that is pulling energy onto him, this indicates that there hasn't been proper movement of the sexual energy. It's not just about celibacy and mastery and self-control. It's about what is the use of that energy that is not being discharged through sexuality or through pornography or through wet dreams or through all the means that sexual energy can be pulled from. So ideally, whenever we're on this tantric path, after we have done our preparation process and have done all of our solo journeys and we feel ready, and this is the thing, it's not like, oh, I feel ready, I'm going to attract him now. No. This is life. Like life does her thing. When you are ready, the right partner will appear. But it's so important for us to like talk about like, what does that look like? Because especially in like conscious communities, everybody is into tantric sex. Well, maybe not everybody, but I just hear, it's like just like being like self-aware and conscious all of a sudden like doesn't necessarily make you a tantric master for the depth of it. That's why I always emphasize the importance of preparation. And when I say preparation, it's not like how I'm gonna prepare this week for the encounter. I'm talking about like the years of practice that it takes to really master your own sexual energy, to learn to unwind it, to learn to explore it and see the flavors of it. Because this inner process, it's what forms your energetic body, and that energetic body is what ends up magnetizing and pulling in the appropriate tantric consort. This also means that you have to say no to a lot of things that are not that, and you will know based on how your heart and your yoni and your entire body feels whenever life begins sending you certain, I'm not gonna say temptations because it's not temptations, but it's almost like, let's say it's like little tests. Like, do you want this? Yes or no? And having the discernment of knowing what is it that you're looking for and what does it look like on like the masculine path, because the feminine tantric path and the masculine tantric path are different as they're meant to be, because we are almost like weaving different parts together and then we come together. It's like two quilts build themselves together in that weaving process, but you're not building the exact same thing because that's redundant. So keeping in mind that it is very different. It's like very similar from some levels, but also dramatically different on the externalized and what you're able to see. So to magnetize this type of man, the man that is ready for that tantric union because he has done that process of self-mastery within himself, your physical body and your astral body have to emit the energies of the awakened Shakti. And this is why it's so important to work with the 10 Mahavidyas, or at least with some specific goddess or deity that is holding tantric energies within their own myth. So this isn't about like do these practices and then you'll attract, but it's more about how can I anchor down into my body all of this spiritual work that I'm doing so that both my physical body and my astral body are in that reflection magnetizing this energy towards myself. So the way of anchoring down these sacred spiritual energies into the body is number 1, through Nyasa, and number 2, through creating that inner marriage within first. Actually, they're like this, reverse the order. First, you create that inner marriage within yourself, and then Nyasa comes secondarily. So if you don't know what Nyasa is, I'll dive deeper into that in a little bit. Let's first start with the emotional preparation. The inner marriage happens whenever our inner Shiva is in full observance of our inner Shakti. This happens whenever we've created an energetic seat within ourselves that is still, peaceful, and quiet, and is in full observance. Basically, you have to first find your inner Shiva. How do you get yourself to enter into the state of being the observer of who you are, the observer of the thoughts, the observer of the breath? Like if you can pull yourself there as a practice and you're able to like find it very quickly and you're like, okay, I'm in my inner Shiva. That's the first step for this process to actually work. Once we have created this space within ourselves, the journey becomes about, am I able to witness my emotions, my behaviors, my life, my thoughts, my movements, from that loving awareness that has no judgment, no commentary. And when the commentary shows up, I'm still able to pull back into that seat of the observer to witness the commentary. So that's how our inner Shiva is able to observe and witness our inner Shakti. Observing all of our patterns, emotions, traumas, behaviors without judgment is what begins the inner marriage between that inner Shiva and inner Shakti. And to get to this level, you have to have already explored some of your traumas and developmental wounds. Because if you don't do that first, that's going to pollute your perception of life, your perception of yourself. It's almost as if your energetic and emotional body are distorted. So everything they send is going to have that distortion. This is the importance of doing inner child work, of doing trauma work, of like exploring those developmental mother and father wounds. And if you haven't, and you want to work on this, my program Venusian Woman has 2 pillars out of 3 dedicated to the mother wound and the father wound. So check that out if you haven't done this inner work. Otherwise, if you're already in a place where you're starting to feel wholeness in your experience, wholeness within yourself, then you can actually begin anchoring down your spiritual practice into your physical body. And this is what begins magnetizing your tantric consort. So this leads us into Nyasa. So Nyasa is a practice. It's more of a ritual that involves touching various parts of the body while intonating a specific Sanskrit letter and a Bija. A Bija is a seed sound connected to a specific deity, a specific goddess. So if you haven't checked out my 10 Mahavidyas video, please do so. I'll put a little link somewhere in here so you can see it, because every goddess will have a seed sound. So you have the Sanskrit letters of the alphabet, and then you have these Bija sounds. So what does Nyasa do? Whenever we practice Nyasa, we are anchoring down the energies of the specific deity that we want to work with into our physical body. And we're doing this through touch and sound. So those are the 2 technologies that are being used here. Touch with the fingers and then sound as you are touching different parts of the body. Usually we want to work with the Bija that is connected to the Mahavidya that we chose to work with. And if you are not working with any Mahavidya, there is a specific Bija that you can use that's kind of a filler word for if you don't have like a specific energy that you want to channel. But I do feel that it has a stronger impact whenever our mind is a little bit more focused on a particular energy that we're trying to anchor down into our body. This process of anchoring energy into the body, it's creating an astral body that is in the shape of the Mahavidya that we're working with. And this astral body that gets created is the one that begins magnetizing the tantric consort or the right energies in your life to continue that process. It doesn't have to be specifically a person. It's almost like if you work on the astral body, then the astral body begins pulling into your life the teachers, the information, the experiences that you need to transform to uncover more of the essence of the manifested Shakti that you are. Whenever we look at the interplay between the masculine and the feminine, especially under the tantric lens, we perceive the masculine as being physically active and astrally passive, and the feminine as being physically passive and astrally active. That's the importance for a woman that is interested on the tantric path of developing that astral body. And that astral body has to feel connected to the human physical body. This is the power and the importance of doing Nyasa. So how do we even do this? First of all, you're going to need all of the letters of the Sanskrit alphabet. I'm going to put a resource on the description box below that I found, and it's also going to have the pronunciation of how to say it and like the place of the body where you want to intonate from. Some of the sounds are guttural, some of the sounds are dental, some of the sounds are, from the throat. So it will kind of guide you that way. But once you have the list of the Sanskrit alphabet, then you have to find the appropriate the Bija sound. Then you have to find the same number of body parts as the number of letters in the Sanskrit alphabet. So my recommendation is to make a table for yourself. You're going to make a table where all of the letters are on one side, and then you're going to associate a specific letter to a body part. So for example, you have, top of head, you have your third eye, you have your eyes, right cheek, left cheek, teeth, chin, throat. You have like connections from the heart to the hands, meridians from the heart to the stomach. Let your body guide you through this. Like, you'll know, if you have a specific number, okay, we have, like 27 or 50 or whatever number. I don't know how many are here because I have a few resources that have different numbers. But what you want to do is connect a specific letter to a body part. And this is going to stay consistent throughout your practice. And the motto will be to say the Bija. So you have the Sanskrit letter and body part. And what you're going to intonate in each body part is going to be Om. Always before any Sanskrit letter is going to be Om, the Sanskrit letter, and then the Bija sound. So for example, let's say that, let me look here. I have the letters, okay, I have ka, cha, and da. So I'm gonna do ka, top of head, cha, nose, and then da, chin, for example. And the Bija sound that I'm going to use for this example is Krim. Krim, because Krim is the Bija sound of Kali, and that's the Mahavidya that I like to work with. So in this case, I will go Om Ka Krim, Om Cha Krim, Om Da Krim, and you do this with all of the letters and with all the body parts that you associated to a letter and the Bija that you choose. So how do you choose the appropriate Bija sound? Like I said, this is going to be dependent on the Mahavidya that you work with. If you don't work with any Mahavidya, just fill the last part with Namaha. So it will be Om Cha Namaha, Om Da Namaha, as you are pointing all the body parts. And you can always change the Bija that you use. It doesn't have to be the same one. Let's say that you use Namaha because you don't have any specific deity Mahavidya that you're working with, but then you feel a natural connection to Tripura Sundari. In that case, you will change the Namaha to Kleem because that is her beach sound. So if you want to work with Kali, you use Krim. If you want to work with Tara, you're going to use Strim or Om because Tara is the sound. If you want to work with Tripura Sundari, Kleem. With Buvaneswari, Hrim. And Hrim will also work for Chinnamasta as well. Dhumavati will be Dhum. Bagalamukhi will be Hlrim. Matangi is I'm. Kamala, Shrim. So these resources are online, so you can just Google it. If you're not sure how to pronounce it, I always recommend make sure that you get the pronunciation right. When it comes to Sanskrit, the power of the letters is in the correct pronunciation of them. So how often do you do this and why? Personally, I think this should be a daily practice because every single day we're going into the astral world when we dream. Every single, we have the cycles, and for spiritual practices, creating that sense of safety first of okay, I have this one thing that I do, and the consistency actually helps us accelerate our path a lot quicker. The more you do this exercise, the more that you're going to feed on your astral body and anchor down those Bija sounds into your physical body, and the more that you're going to be able to magnetize the appropriate tantric partner. If you would like to begin preparing your physical and astral body for tantric union and you're not sure where to start, then please check out my program, Bhairavi. This is a mentorship program that exclusively works on the tantric preparation for union. In this program, I will help you find your chosen mantra, your chosen Mahavidya based on your Vedic chart. We'll also create your own Nyasa sequence and your daily asana to prepare your body, mind, and spirit for tantric union. We'll also work through any sexual blockages that you have, any restrictions or distortions. And I will teach you all the practices that you need for solo practices, and we'll give you resources once you're ready to move into the transition of practicing Tantra with a partner. So if you're interested in this, make sure you check out the description box below, and it's called the Bhairavi Mentorship. And if you enjoyed this video, please make sure to like it. That really helps the content be found by other people that are interested in this. Otherwise, I will see you guys next time.